I made your
Okay.
poster.
Yay! Thank you so much. Oh, wow. I'm here, Lynn. Thank you so much. That was an awesome dance. I love dancing with you. Oh, it's just
Mm.
so good. I love it. You just came on and I saw you like a bat out of hell. I was right with you. Like, oh yeah, Lynn, here I am.
Yeah, I knew if you saw me dancing, you'd come on and dance too. So just like Wayne, if he was here, he'd come on and dance too. So
Yes,
we're cool.
definitely. Well,
All right, you guys.
I'm shutting my mic off because I don't need to be seen to read because you know what? We can just relax and listen and now we get all into our book here from John Mundy, A Course in Mysticism and Miracles, Begin Your Spiritual Adventure. And we're about almost halfway into the book here. And we left off chapter 11, The Miracle of Suffering. And I'm just a couple pages in on that chapter. So I'm just going to continue on from where I was. Here we go. All right, we handle difficulties more easily when we allow them to transform us. Sometimes the only way for you to find out what is going on is to have the rug pulled out from under you. Whenever this happens, pay attention. Don't attack anyone and don't play the role of victim. Whew, well, you got to really watch for that because I tell you, it's tough not to attack when I'm in the habit of it. Like I was really in a habit of just that would be the default. That would be the default always. Oh, somebody did X, Y, or Z to me, and then playing the role of victim. But what I love about A Course in Miracles is just through doing the lessons not perfectly, it's opened up this space where there is time to see, where this choice point could be. And for me, that's been huge. So it's just kind of broken it down for me in these I can actually visually see and feel when that's happening. Whereas before I couldn't. I didn't know that I had any thoughts to do with anything. So A Course in Miracles, that's one of the gifts I've received from that. So when this statement's made, whenever this happens, pay attention. Don't attack anyone and don't play the victim role of victim. That's a statement here that seems fairly evident and fairly straightforward, yet this is the quote unquote difficulty of the course. Anybody have any comments on that? I think we're all in agreement anyway, but yeah, he says, don't attack anyone and don't play the role of victim. Life has simply given you one of its lessons. That's it. It's just a lesson. You can respond responsibly or you can project. You can blame others or you can ask yourself, what lesson does this experience have to teach? How can I be even more aware so that I keep this same sort of thing from happening again? Yeah, just asking those questions and being willing to be shown and open. Oops, look at my date on my, I've got A Course in Mysticism and Miracles, January 4th, 2024. All right, well, that's not true. We're in June now, folks. We're in June 20th to be exact. So don't pay mind to my to my non-edited Zoom background. So here we go to the next section, which is called the wanting creature. The wanting creature. When we hit bottom and give up, we begin to see how we were blinded by our own projection and desires. Geez, as soon as I heard the word blinded, in comes the song, Blinded by the Light. Revved up like a deuce, you know. I don't know all the words there. Revved up like a deuce in the Colorado night, maybe? Anyway, that song came to mind. So we begin to see how we were blinded by our own projection and desires. Buddha said that the loss of desire is the key to enlightenment. Of course, every body has basic needs for food, clothing, and shelter. But many of the things we think we need may not really be necessary. So the first question to ask is, what is the wanting creature? What is the wanting creature? Blinded by the light, revved up like a deuce, you know, a runner in the night. Woohoo! Thank you for that. All right, I got the lyrics, you know, a runner in the night. All right. You know, something, I don't know if you've ever noticed that, you know, when you get older, because we didn't have things like lyrics.com and not all our CDs and tapes came with, with the lyrics to music. Didn't have YouTube. So, you know, we had to figure out sometimes what the lyrics were by just playing it and rewinding it and playing it again. At least that's how I did it. And one of the songs that I only just realized what the words were a few years ago is the song Dirty Deeds. Well, I used to sing, if you can believe, dirty deeds, done dirt chief, done dirt chief. Dirty deeds and a done dirt chief. Dirty deeds and a done dirt chief. Well, then all of a sudden I was working with this older, a little bit older lady than me, and we had this song came on, and I'm singing it. She's like, "What are you singing?" And I'm saying it. She's like, "That's not what it says. Dirty deeds, done dirt cheap." Well, geez, did I ever have a great laugh, because of course that makes way more sense. And and ultimately, I realized that I wasn't so good at hearing the lyrics in some of these songs after all. So that was a good little lesson. I went all through life singing the wrong words. So yeah, I guess that can screw you up a little bit, hey? So what is the wanting creature? What is it that it needs? Well, it needs the right lyrics, all right, if it's gonna sing the tunes, that's for sure. And what if there were no wanting creature, no ego? What would you have then? Ramana Maharshi asks us to pay attention to how and where our thoughts arise. When asked a spiritual question, he often answered, "Who wants to know? Who wants to know?" Physicist and engineer Lester Levinson gives us a good example of an awakening after the crash. Levinson attained a high level of material success as a businessman, but suffered from a number of health problems. After his second heart attack, his doctors told him that unless he wanted a third and probably fatal heart attack, he needed to change how he lived. This caused Levinson to undertake a serious assessment of his life. He began walking the streets of New York City late at night. Over a 3-month period, he succeeded in walking off innumerable blocks to an awareness of love's presence, and his heart problems disappeared. He became enormously happy and lived to the age of 84, spending the rest of his life teaching others what he called the Sedona method, a spiritual path that consists of asking a series of questions that prompt an awareness of your true feelings in the moment and lead to the release of the ego self. And I think that I was just going to say that. Thank you, Lynn, because yes, I was just thinking of Raffi. So yes, indeed, Lester Levinson was Raffi's teacher. That's so amazing and incredible. Thank you. So from the text, chapter 2, idle thoughts. There are no idle thoughts. All thinking produces form at some level. In his deep personal evaluation of his true feelings, Lester asked himself what he wanted most. The answer was happiness. Next, he asked himself what would make him happy. Excuse me. He realized that he was happy when he was receiving love. Then he had a further revelation. It was not when he was the recipient of love that he was most happy. He was the happiest of all whenever he was loving. Nice. Yeah, that loving that emanates right from within you, and that the love that I give out to the world, when it emanates from within, that's just that golden, buttery, velvety love. Our greatest happiness, because our greatest love of all is happening to me. Okay, that's a very difficult song to sing because it's Whitney Houston, so I'm not even going to embarrass myself further. Our greatest happiness comes from sharing, loving, caring, and giving. We automatically feel good when we do something that is helpful to others. This is especially true when we feel no need to be recognized for what we have done. Charity that wishes to publicize itself ceases to be charity. Yes, like random acts of kindness, or just doing good deeds, but then going all over and blasting it out on social media about all the things I've done. I kind of think that negates the purpose, unless it's being shared in the spirit of love to promote the further sharing and giving. But if it's just to give a list of, look at what I've done because I'm special and I'm doing it such a great thing, then I'm gonna have to look at that, because I've got a little bit of a I guess what's this little not a monster, it's a creature, or the wanting creature. I'm wanting to get recognized for what I'm doing, and that's not the place I want to give from. Charity, applying this principle.
Audsie, you're kind of fading out. Can you get closer to your mic?
Oh, yes, for sure. Let me see if maybe I got
That's
the wrong
better.
setting. No. Oh, good. Yeah, okay. Maybe there we go. Hopefully that is better. Yeah.
Yeah, that is better.
Good. So here, I'll continue here. Applying this principle in his life took Lester to deeper and deeper levels of understanding and to a progressive opening into expanded awareness. Lester's discovery is not new. A 1999 study by social psychologists concluded that the happiest people spend their days giving their love away. Aw, isn't that awesome? Giving it all, giving it all, giving it all away. That's when they pave paradise and put up a parking lot. Gosh, I'm just a repertoire of dudes. I used to play this little game where I would say, put a quarter in me and request a song. I'll either sing a song or I would make something up. So I just love music because it just is something that naturally comes to mind. So it's just fun to share that. Excuse me. So let's continue here. We got Lester's discovery is not new. A 1999 study concluded that the happiest people spend their days giving their love away. Another story of hitting bottom leading to waking up is that of teacher and author Byron Katie. Katie became severely depressed and for over a decade lived with paranoia, rage, and self-loathing with thoughts of suicide. One morning in a mental health treatment facility, she experienced a life-changing spiritual awakening that she calls waking up to reality. She wrote, I discovered that when I believed my thoughts, I suffered, but that when I didn't believe them, I didn't suffer. And that this is true for every human being. Which is cool because that brings us kind of together in the same experience, but yet we each have different things that that get us riled up or get us into the story per se. So that's where it becomes kind of individualized. I might have a thought about X and somebody has a thought about Y and somebody has a thought about Z, but we're all suffering. Ugh, these thoughts. So I found that suffering, Byron Katie, I found that suffering is optional. I found a joy within me that has never disappeared, not for a single moment. That joy is in everyone always. And yeah, Byron Katie is just such a delight if you've ever gotten a chance to see her in action with her work or hear her. She's pretty amazing individual and author and just teacher, I would say. And thank you, Karen. Yes, I would agree that music does indeed naturally lift the spirit. In ways, sometimes it lifts the spirit to touch the sorrow within, because I know there are songs that can deeply move me to a sorrowful, melancholic tears. Music can move me to beautiful tears, the opposite way with the same result in form. And then music can move me in a mantric, dedicated way. So like it's just it can move in me any really sort of emotion. It can just evoke so much. Like I can't deny that music really does lift my soul. And yeah, thank you. Karen agrees. All right, so let's hear what Yunmin Wenyan, wow, Yunmin Wenyan, founder of one of the 5 major schools of Chinese Zen, writes, the time will come when your mind will suddenly come to a stop like an old rat who finds himself in a cul-de-sac. Eckhart Tolle describes this kind of experience in his book, The Power of Now. I cannot live with myself any longer. This was the thought that kept repeating itself in my mind. Then suddenly I became aware of that. Then suddenly I became aware of what a peculiar thought it was. Am I one or two? If I cannot live with myself, there must be two of me, the I and the self that I cannot live without. Maybe, I thought, only one of them is real. I was so stunned by this strange realization that my mind stopped. Well, I tell you, I've been having that experience too, because I know when you talk about the voice, the right voice or the wrong voice, or the right-minded choice or the wrong-minded choice, don't even put the voice in there. And people say, some people say that higher voice isn't actually a voice, it's a feeling, or it comes from not of the mind. And what I realized was that I've been duping myself into believing that I've had a relationship with God and that I actually talk to God in my mind in a full conversation. And then this just the other day I was like, well, that wouldn't be God then if it's just talking. It's not a small voice. It's not it. That would just be another part of the ego. So I'm just talking to myself. I'm just making up another self to talk to. So that's not the voice of God. But why did it feel so much like that? Sometimes I think that it's just could be maybe not, I don't know. We have a different, thank you, Lynn. We have a different personality for every situation. Well, no wonder I was thinking again, starting to think that I was a little cuckoo. Because there is, I can almost tell sometimes, like, even when I'd go in a meeting, when I would be working, when I was working at the university, like my voice would change. I would get a different inflection, or like maybe even sit up straighter. So yeah, it's a different personality. So I guess I'm just sort of realizing that God isn't actually talking to me in my mind with words, which is sort of a bummer, because I kind of thought I had this direct line. And definitely, yeah, Lynn says, I love this. We have a different personality for every situation. Sometimes they conflict and argue. Definitely, because I've had full-on arguments within the mind about things, and I see that actually is manifesting in my experience. And this, I cannot live with myself any longer, from Eckhart Tolle. I mean, I can just feel into that. I just had that experience my life. I just couldn't get it. I couldn't get the world. And at least now I'm starting to understand that that's okay. You're not gonna get it. So this is really a time in my life where it's a lot more content. And I just am excited to keep seeing what's going to be revealed. And I'm willing to go through more of the what I would call yucky stuff, but it's not not so bad as it used to be. I know that I'm not alone more so now, and just to be in community such as this where there's just so much compassion, and to be allowed to be where you are and to be loved is just it's grand. It's just big time. My eyes are getting bigger. Yeah. So yeah, it's getting bigger. I love that. Maybe I thought only one of them is real. I was so stunned by this strange realization that my mind stopped. What is so wonderful about hitting bottom is that it enables us to move beyond the evaluating mind that gets us stuck in analysis, a major block in the route to mystical awareness. Bernadette Roberts writes, "The only way out is to be submissive, to accept our helplessness, and to recognize the peace of the soul." PEACE, peace of the soul. The way it can be found is our greatest ally. If we truly mean that we need help and we are willing to surrender our own attempts to figure things out, a miraculous thing happens. It's called grace. Grace. God steps in. God can't help us when we're trying to control things. We have free will. We can muck things up as much as we want to, or we can follow God's lead and enjoy life. The truth is that nothing feels better than the sense that you are leading a guided life. Oswald Chambers, a well-known Scottish minister, lecturer, and author, realized that after years of trying, no matter what he did, he couldn't force himself to be holy. He then had a mystical breakthrough, which he described in his book, My Utmost for His Highest, as a radiant, unspeakable emancipation. Chambers writes, "When you are in the dark, listen, and God will give you a very precious message." Spanish mystic Saint John of the Cross, along with his teacher Teresa of Avila, was known for a deep love for God. He was among the first to subject mystical experiences to what he called intelligence, what we today would call psychological investigation. Suffering, he said, is epistemology. In other words, we learn through suffering. We learn through suffering. In his most famous work, he wrote, "In the dark night of the soul, bright flows the river of God." Wow, in the dark night of the soul, bright flows the river of God. That's gorgeous. Prophecy or paranoia? Andrew Weil says mystical experience is the mirror image of paranoia. It sees the universe as a conspiracy organized for my benefit. That is awesome. I tell you, I love that. I used to say that the universe is conspiring for my good, for all good. And I love that that is mystical experiences being the mirror image of paranoia. Wow, that's a good way to look at it. yeah, the universe conspires for all the good, all of my good, your good, the good. Hitting well, but then I got into this thing, the universe expires for my benefit or my good. Then I got into the thing where I felt like I was judging things, whether they were good or bad, and that's not the space I wanted to be in either. I just wanted to accept and not judge good or bad. But I mean, that of course goes back then to being the wanting creature. So then that's good. That's good for me to see, because when I look back, reflect back, that dissatisfaction, that suffering was coming from my thinking saying, no, I actually want to be like this. When I got to the space where I could see that the universe was conspiring for my good, well, that became, no, that's not it. Because once I saw that, there was something wrong with it, because I was saying the word good, putting a judgment on it. So that's really the sneaky way of the brain. I fall into this space of making the new mantra and believing in it, I believe the universe conspires for my good. Yes, yes. And then I'm enveloping this way. All the while, it just gets turned against me. Once I've sort of quote unquote achieved this, and then it's like, well, no, that's not it. That's not it, my brain says, because you're now saying something's good and you've judged it. So all this training of the brain, of the mind, to shift into these different sort of mantras and experiencing it just gets turned upside down on its head again by the brain. That whole duality. Wow. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Oh, good, Karen. This is perfect. All things work together for good, except in the ego's judgment. Perfect. Thank you. That's what I needed. Yay. I have it now, the answer. I missed that line in the quote. How could I miss that? I mean, there's only 1,200 or plus words in the course. So how could I miss that? All things work together for good, except in the ego's judgment. Of course, of course. Thank you, A Course in Miracles. And thank you, Karen, for sharing that in the chat. Now, I'm not really sure what time I started, but I think I'm going to end here at 11:30. So I'm just going to go for 8 more minutes. And I don't know if I might play a song too. So let's just see. No, I'm not gonna, because I'm gonna finish this chapter if I can. Well, we'll see. Who knows? Why am I trying to predict what's gonna happen 8 minutes from now? Yee. All right, let's
You
carry
are
on.
cracking me up. You're having a little argument with yourself.
Oh my goodness.
Am I going to do this or am I going to do that?
Oh my God. Good catch. Thank you.
I love it. I love it. Who's in charge here?
I don't know. I don't know what's happening, man. I'm just here and I'm loving it no matter what. I tell you.
Absolutely. You have to. All right. I'll let you. I just had to jump in there and laugh.
Oh no, I love it, Lynn. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm so glad. At least we can laugh together, because I tell you, I'm laughing too. It's so fun. Oh boy. So yeah. So then, he says hitting the bottom is not fun, however, because it's not. And sometimes you never come back up. So hitting the bottom is not fun. However, no, that's not the way it is. Hitting the bottom is not fun, however. It can awaken us, but the price is high. We can go through repeated episodes of loss and despair before truly surrendering, after which a spiritual path or discipline becomes necessary. We fall into great loss and despair when the strategies of the ego lead us nowhere. This does not happen through what seems to be conscious choice, however. After all, no one wants to hit bottom. But it is inevitable that we will encounter difficulties with personal interactions, finances, health, and ongoing relationship issues. Still, there is nothing that says we must crash and burn. We can, with some facility, simply go through a gradual awakening process. Nevertheless, it is true that the darkest moment can reveal the light. You know, the gradual awakening process, I think, is nice to read those words here. And I also think that sometimes that just wouldn't have done its job with me, because I mean, a gradual awakening, it's like, for me, I think, oh, I haven't changed at all. But yet there's been so much change, but because it's just so slight and little, it's just not noticed. So sometimes this whole dark night of the soul with that big, boom, that's what's needed. It's like the slap across the face, psh, psh, just to snap out of that circuit. That's for me. Like, I've had so many drops and quick dips and stuff, and I'm grateful for those. Although a gradual awakening also sounds okay too, but I don't know. I think that maybe bored me, because I sure like to have the dips and drops and but not anymore. I'm here, and I'm just gradually awakening, as we all are, and we're walking each other home. And I love that it is true that the darkest moment can reveal the light. It's so beautiful. Wow. All right. Well, you know what? I'm going to leave the next section for next week. And I think I'll share a song, because that sounds fun. And I'm going to, of course, share a Netta song. Netta, because I just have been thinking about her so much the last few days, because of course she's done the a lesson 170, and she did the whole she's got the Dark Night of the Soul. I think I'm going to play that one, Dark Night of the Soul, and hopefully we don't have to have these dark nights of the soul so much, and we can just really get on with this being love business. So I'm just typing it in here, and I'm going to pull it up. And I love everybody so much, and I appreciate just having this space to do this. I bet that everybody's going to have an awesome weekend, and I'm going to know that our beloved brother Rev Wayne is doing okay, and he's gonna just let us know everything. Soon we're gonna hear from him. And thank you so much, Karen. You are adorable yourself. And I also love Netta Boyne, and I'm going to share my screen.
All that I thought that was certain fell away. The ones I thought never would leave me couldn't stay. The road that seemed so clear before made sense no more. I sat down beside you and asked you, what is it all for? If I'm asleep, then wake me up. I wanna feel only love. Through the dark night of the soul, the sweetest sound came that led me home. Through the dark night of the soul, you came in my dreams to lead me home. The dark night of the soul. Oh, 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 oh. I thought that following you meant sacrifice, but now I see you only lead me to paradise. The things that would scare me simply matter no more. You gave me wings and told me it was time to soar. Through the dark night of the soul, the sweetest sound came that led me home. Through the dark night of the soul, you came in my dreams to lead me home. The one before sunrise. You can't see light with closed eyes. I am the way, the truth, the light. You are always by my side. Through the dark night of the soul, the sweet sound came that led me home. Through the dark night of the soul, you came in my dreams to lead me home. The dark night of the soul. Oh, oh.
Oh, wow, that was gorgeous. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Audsie. I appreciate you so much. And I'm going to go ahead and close out this YouTube.